Hello, everyone, and good evening. Welcome to Adam's TV podcast. I am your host, Adam Samuel. And Big Brother, the second episode of Big Brother 20 has just wrapped. It has come to a close, and we are here to break it down. We are going to go through everything that happened. And joining me today is my co host. He is someone who, based on what I was reading on Twitter, has a lot of thoughts about a certain robot who is featured on tonight's episode. It is Jason Brown. How you doing, Jason?
I've been better, Adam. I've been better. Do we just want to get into it now, or should we wait? We'll wait.
Let's touch on some of the headlines of the episode. So I feel like the first headline that we should throw out there is we have a head of household. It is Tyler. He wins this competition. It was kind of like you had to go on this balance beam, take a ball, or I think they were called like PowerPoints or something. I don't really remember. Put them in other
deletion
dots, and put them into other people's cylinder until one person was remaining. What do you think about our new head of household, first off?
Okay. Well, let me just start. I'll backtrack a little bit. Let me just start off by saying, if Jason Brown was a Big Brother house guest, this competition would have been such a nightmare for me. I would have hated competing in this competition. Not because, I can't walk on a balance beam or whatever. The idea that these people who I just met 24 hours ago, I have to go and now screw each one of them over is so absurd to me. They are like evil geniuses for thinking up this competition because A, I feel like it was kind of employed to kind of get the drama going a little bit, but B, it was fantastic TV. Like, I was very interested throughout the whole thing, but if I had been there, I feel like I would have been a lot like Bailey because she was not happy that Tyler was putting them little dots in her tube. And I definitely know that I would have been in tears by the end of it just because I know myself as a person. I would have been full on Samantha, been like, damn, these people really got me out first. Fuck y'all. Y'all did not have to do me like that. I would have been very upset. So I digress. Anyway, I thought that it was kind of smart that Tyler and Bailey wanted to work together, but I think the whole little argument that Bailey and Tyler kind of had at the end of the competition, it was a little bit like one-sided. Like, what is he supposed to do? JC already has how many dots and you have like 4? Do you want to make it obvious to the house that y'all were working together in this competition? No. So I definitely think that Bailey should not have tried to come for him, but I'm cool with the Tyler HOH. He seems like a nice enough person. I think that he does feel guilty about what ended up happening with his first HOH, but he seems like a nice enough person. There could have been worse people to win the HOH. So,
The thing about Tyler winning is not so much that he won. He was kind of a little bit forced into the win. He didn't get to pick the win for himself. There's a lot of strategy that I feel went into this competition, which we're going to touch on a little bit once we get up to it a little later in the show. But I want to kind of move on to the next headline of the episode, which is we get our nominations. We find out that the nominees for the week are Sam, the robot, and Steve. And I want to ask you, Jason, there was a lot of buildup going into these nominees that Tyler was kind of thinking of. He had a lot of different options. Do you think he made the right one?
Okay, well, there are 2 sides to this. And the first side is, yes, Sam and Steve were incredibly safe nominations. It is very easy to say, like, okay, let me nominate you. Y'all were the first 2 out of the competition. But it's not like they were the first 2 out of the competition because they sucked at the Okay, well, I can't even say that because Steve sucked at the competition. But it's not like they were the first 2 out of the competition because, y'all just weren't strong enough. It was because the 6 other people that were playing were just like, nope, these 2 aren't doing it. They ain't it. So let me get them out. So on the one hand, yes, it was safe. Would I have liked to see him make a bigger move? Or maybe go to that little alliance and be like, listen, I'm going to nominate one of them and I can use one of y'all as a pawn. Yes, but he did what he had to do, unfortunately.
All right, so...
and I'm pissed off about it because they're both on my damn draft, but we can get to that later.
Yes, Team Adam and Team Ryan is safe. Going in, we got my guy is HOH. There was a lot of things in this episode getting me a little nervous about a potential Angela target, but thankfully she is safe. I think she's also going to be safe from a replacement nominee. I'm getting the vibes from that. Hopefully that she's going to be safe. We're going to find out in a couple of hours when the feeds go live after the West Coast airing.
I'm so ready for the feed. My life is about to be over. I literally, I'm going to a concert tomorrow, and I'll be like refreshing during the concert, like BB updates, Hamster Watch. My life is over for the summer.
You're going to be staying up for the feeds dropping?
I tend to do so every year when the feeds start, but also I have to be at work at 9 a.m, so like maybe not such a good idea, but I probably will do so. Knowing myself as a person, yeah, probably.
Okay, so before we actually get into the recap of the episode, I want to ask, are there any big headlines that you kind of want to touch on before we start to get into it?
Oh, we definitely need to talk about how Sam was done wrong and she deserves better.
All right, tell me about it. Tell me why.
Oh, listen, I would just like to talk to CBS for a minute. CBS, hey, what's going on? Y'all did not have to do her like that. Listen, the first week is so important and imperative because if you don't like make connections with these people in the first week, you're fucked for the whole season because it's just so important that you like get to sit down with these people, learn about them, their little quirks and ticks and how they are. You have to learn how to live with these people in the first week, and it's going to be so difficult for Sam to do that now because she's in this robot costume. They can't see her. It's like, what am I going to sit here and say to a robot? Like, I'm about to sit here and be like, so you're a robot, huh? It's a nightmare for her. And so to have that going on in week 1, and also I just want to touch on this. I feel like Casey and Sam's punishments were completely unevenly yoked. Okay, like y'all, at least Casey gets to be in the damn house. Sam is just off in a room in the back of the CBS lot, with a little joystick, like, okay, let me move forward, moving back, side to side, using my little Bath and Body Works bottle. She's probably just eating bonbons, being miserable as hell. So she has that. And then y'all go and y'all, like, I feel like if they were going to do that to her, they could have at least given Casey and Sam like advantages in the competition, or they could have both been safe but had to do the punishment or something, just to like make it so that it's not completely shitty for them. And I understand it's Big Brother, and I understand it's a game, and that's just how things go in the house sometimes. But it is so frustrating to watch because I feel like they're screwing her over. It's so sad, and she's nominated now, and like, what's she gonna do? She's just gonna have to go in that damn robot costume and be like, y'all, please don't vote me out. They can't even like use the excuse, oh, you're a threat. She's not a damn threat. She's in a robot costume. A robot. Y'all put a robot on the block. It's just, ooh. I'm mad. I'm so heated right now. This is a damn mess. A mess. It's wild. I'm so angry right now.
All right, so let's. I found one more headline that I kind of want to touch on. It's we get the beginnings of what I'm starting to feel is a more solidified alliance. We get a group. It is, if I got everyone's name correctly, I'm pretty sure I did. It's Brett, Angela, Casey, Winston, Rachel, and Tyler. A 6-person alliance. Seems like it was formed. Tyler was waffling between kind of going with Swaggy C's group or going with Winston, who gave the proposition, and he eventually, it seems, the impression that I got is he kind of accepted Winston's proposal. Yeah. Did you kind of get the same vibe from that?
I did. And I feel like we actually have like kind of 2 alliances that we need to touch on because we've got that group, but we've also got the group that's like Chris and Fessy and Angie Rockstar and Caitlin and somebody whose name will not come to me. Oh, Haley. Yeah. Haley, I'm going to forget about her this whole season. I can promise you that. She'll be my one. I can guarantee it. But I feel like out of the 2 of them, and I cannot believe I'm about to sit here and say this, but like, I feel like I'm actually rooting for the Swaggy C Alliance. Like, am I really here being like, ooh, Angie Rockstar and Caitlin about to do the damn thing? I think I am. I think that I'm actually rooting for that 5 over the other ones. I feel like this happens every season where we kind of get 2 alliances, and everybody kind of tends to go to one side. Am I really on the alliance of Swaggy C and Angie Rockstar and Caitlyn? This season's wild.
It is wild because I'm going to say I'm on the other side. With the exceptions of Brett and Winston, I'm pretty on board with the other alliance. I mean, it's got Rachel, it's got Angela, it's got Tyler, who's another one to watch. Casey, I'm feeling the other side, which is
I don't dislike the other side. Like, it's not like I dislike them. It's just like, I feel like if we really want hashtag Team Fun Feeds, I'm all about Team Fun Feeds. Caitlyn and Angie Rockstar and Swaggy C have to stick around for a good few weeks, at least until jury, please God. Oh, I want so badly. I want to see Caitlyn make a jury vote, please. She'd be like, I'm standing here this evening, and one of you is giving me a red aura, and one of you is giving me a blue aura, so I have to vote for the person whose aura is blue. And it could come down to a 5-4 vote, and she's the 5th vote, and we got $500,000 going to the person that had the blue aura. I want that so badly. But
Jason, we already know that Caitlyn's not going to be on the jury. She's going to be in the finale because she has already manifested herself winning. So it's pointless of us to even argue.
Yeah,
and
you're absolutely right.
On that note, let's dive into the episode. Let's get into some of the key points. So where we left off last night was Swaggy C has made his decision. He was able to keep 8 people safe. He decides to keep his own move-in group safe, which means the other side is open for HOH and nominations. And we open with Caitlyn is pretty pissed off about this. Caitlyn feels that Swaggy C kind of betrayed her, which is a little bit strange because a little later in the episode they're actually going to kind of come together. But there's this moment where she is in the diary room with, I think it was Angela, JC, and I think it was Angie Rockstar. And they're kind of just venting. And unfortunately for them, they're venting a little bit too loudly because all of a sudden we see Swaggy C is standing by the door and he seems like he can hear it all. And are those doors, do you think, as paper thin as they seem like they were this episode?
Absolutely. And I feel like it's intentionally so. Because every season we see somebody doing this. We've seen Amanda doing this before. We've seen Davon, standing at the door listening. Every season we've seen it, and I definitely think it's intentional. That's why when you see all these when you get a couple weeks in, you see them all like, yeah, we've got to put her up. Like, she's gonna be a huge. Like, that's why they all sit there and whisper, because they know that these doors, like, they're gonna be able to be heard.
All right. We also get this short little segment of Scotty. He's celebrating that he is safe for the week, and he celebrates a little bit too hard, and the chair he's sitting in goes completely backwards. And I think he said something along the lines of, I thought they had more weight in the bottom or something for like, and that was just a little funny moment. But that was really all the Scotty we kind of get in this episode, which is good. I mean, he is someone who is on your draft. He was the first person picked. And I think the way to play week 1 is always just lay low. Just be friendly, cook for people. Just don't bother them. Don't engage in conversation. Just be cordial. Just build the genuine relationships. At least that's how I would play week 1. In your opinion, what is the key to surviving week 1?
I mean, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. If you do, want to go into it and win the first competition, go for it. That's one way, obviously, to garner safety, but you have to go about it the right way if you do that. You have to make sure that you come out of the week, with everybody not hating you. But I definitely think in the event that you don't win the first competition, it is so smart for you to just lay low, sit down, talk to people, get to know everybody, let everybody get to know you, and just be non-threatening. Don't be messy. Don't be going around talking about other people, because that's one way to get yourself in trouble. If you get invited into an alliance, be like, oh, yeah, sure, absolutely, we're good. But don't actively go around and create chaos, because if you do that, you will be exposed. It always happens. And that's just the tea on that. Don't make yourself a target week 1 and you won't be a target.
I do agree. But the exact opposite, I feel, is how Swaggy C is playing. He is doing kind of the exact opposite, and he's safe for the week. But I'm kind of getting the narrative that he is like the Monty figure, the Devin figure, this like early, like big personality person who's kind of just like, this is my show, I'm going to dominate it. But I feel like that always comes with shortcomings because it always puts such a big target on your back. And I want to ask, do you think that Swaggy C will be able to live past this kind of stigma of these big personalities, the alphas kind of emerging in the couple of weeks and like establishing themselves as like a power player?
Definitely. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being the star of the show. You know, we've seen people who have because, every season they kind of dub somebody as like the person to, the one to watch. This season, I feel like Swaggy C and maybe also kind of Caitlyn a little bit because she's been getting a lot of, DR sessions, camera time, whatever. I definitely think that, going forward, if he plays his cards right, he doesn't make too many enemies, just kind of lays lower than he has been. Maybe he could survive this week. Well, he's definitely going to survive this week because he's safe. But in the coming weeks, if he does win HOH, like listen to everybody, and really reap the benefits of becoming out of household. So definitely.
All right.
And at the end of the day, also, I wanted to put out there, I do like watching Swaggy C. Like, I find him very entertaining. So I would like for him to stick around as well as Caitlyn because she's a hot mess. And it's become really fun to watch.
I actually, it's funny. A lot of people I'm hearing are talking about Swaggy C. People are saying he's like a favorite. I have people who I watch the show with are very into Swaggy C. They're saying they love it. And, he fills a role, and I appreciate that he's trying to give us entertainment. Agreed. But the other form of entertainment the show is trying to push is we get this segment with Rachel is narrating about how she's enjoying her first week in the house. She's narrating it over Brett kind of talking a lot of bro talk. But I don't really have much to say about that unless do you kind of are you a fan of Brett is what I'm kind of going to ask.
No. I would like for him to go next week. We always kind of see this happening every year. The pretty people kind of get together and kind of make this big power alliance. This happens every year. Last year it was that Cody, Jessica, Christmas, all the pretty people. The year before, Corey, Polly, all the vets, everybody. It happens every year. So it's looking like this year it's going to be them. What we don't quite know yet is how many. They said they're going to keep it at 6, and usually it's like an 8 or 9 person for the first week or two. So it would be interesting to see if they do have 6. They will not have a majority. So do with that what you will. But yeah, this happens every year. I would like Brett to get gone because see, there's a difference in like being the Swaggy C type of good TV or being the Brett type of good TV. And I feel like the Swaggy C type of good TV is far superior than the other one. So I would like to see him go. I'm all for Rachel and Winston and Angela, kind of getting together and becoming friends. But you can keep that one. And next topic, please.
All right. So the next segment we get, it's all about Caitlyn. She has a bunch of the house guests in one of the rooms, and they are doing this all kind of a meditating segment. And my favorite part of this moment is there's like some people who seem like they're very into it, some people who don't. But one person who is very into it is Angie Rockstar because she's in the diary room and she says, I am so feeling this. And I was a fan of Caitlyn until a little later in this episode, but right now I was still a fan, and I was kind of hoping for Caitlyn Angie duo. How would you kind of feel about that?
Listen, that would be the most cracked alliance we have ever. That would be hysterically fun. I would definitely be here for it. Most definitely. Don't even play with me. I would definitely be into it.
Yeah, but someone who probably wouldn't be into it is Swaggy C because he's actually sleeping during this whole meditation part.
Oh, but, that was so funny. Oh, my God. That was hysterical.
It was great. But after they kind of focus on that segment, they announce over the Big Brother announcers share that Sam is now able to go back into the diary room. She could come back as not a robot, as herself. And one person is very sad to see her go. It is JC. He says he's going to miss the robot. He actually, and I quote, says, the robot is sexy, which was a little strange, but
I mean, he has put it inside weirder things, so you know.
Let's keep it going. So we get this next segment with Caitlin, and she's sitting by the bathroom with Swaggy C, and she's just kind of doing her thing, talking. And Swaggy C seems to kind of be buying what she's selling. He is very into the chakras and the auras. Maybe, I don't know, but they seem to be grooving a little bit more. And Swaggy C says, I might not want to target this girl. I was maybe thinking about doing it before, but we're kind of cool right now, which is going to come into play a little bit later. This is kind of, I feel, the start of the eventual side of the house that is going to start to build as the episode progresses. But unfortunately, a little later in the show, Caitlin talks about how she has a target in mind now, and it is unfortunately Angela, which I just wrote like, no. What do you think about that target of hers?
I definitely understand, the reasoning behind it. Angela has kind of come in hot a little bit. She, obviously almost won that first competition. She was going after certain people in the HOH competition. So I definitely understand the reasoning behind it. I don't necessarily like it, but I get why she would be a target.
All right. So yeah, I do kind of understand it. I wish it wasn't going to happen. Maybe it's just because it's the first week. Maybe things will start to get a little bit more fluid after. But it kind of leads us into the first HOH, which we touched on a little later. Like we said, only 8 people are eligible to compete. Those people are Bailey, Tyler, Steve, Angela, JC, Winston, Caitlin, and Sam. Angela says she wants to win this competition, which Angela, you're starting to get me a little bit nervous. No, don't try to win this. But she says she's going to, and I want to ask you, if you are competing in this competition, what is your strategy? Like we said, the competition is you have to walk down this balance beam, retrieve one of the deletion points, and put it into another house guest container. How would you play it?
I feel as though the best I don't know, maybe the best way, in my opinion, how I would have played it was if I was up there, I would have gone across, got my little deletion dot, went, how they had them like in little lines. I would have gone boop, 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 boop. Everybody would have got one, and then I would have started over. That way, it would have not come across as me targeting anybody. Now, having said that, I also understand the idea of, okay, you and me, we looking at each other, we're going after this person. You and me, we're going after that person. It makes sense if you want to win. That's the name of the game, and so maybe my idea wouldn't be the way to win, but it would have been the way to make it so that I'm not so much of a target, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. I do think your idea is pretty good. Mine, I actually wrote down my strategy is for the first round to just go as slowly as possible for that first segment of getting the deletion pill. I want to see where everyone else is kind of going first. I don't want to make any decision. I want them to have to make the decision first. See, let's say they're all putting 3 people are putting it in that one. All right, that's where I'm going to go. And then from that point on, it's just throwing it, because like I said, the first HOH is a little bit dangerous. Even if there's only 7 people remaining, I would still, in my opinion, take the risk of not going for the HOH. Would you have wanted to go for this HOH in the event that it is between you and 8 other people?
I think, well, first of all, the fact that it's not against the entire house, it's just against that first 8, definitely, changes a couple of things. It definitely narrows down the pool of people to put up. So that is something to think about. But at the end of the day, I feel like if it had been me, it would have just kind of been one of those things I had to feel out. They say that your gut is always your best instinct. And it would have just been like, okay, how am I feeling today? How am I feeling about this? That I feel like that's just how I would have done it.
All right. So we continue with the competition, and Steve has some iconic face plants as he's going through the balance beam. But people start to drop out. The first person out is Sam. A lot of people seem to be going for the robot. They are throwing the deletion points in hers. And what do you kind of think about the strategy? Because it's unfortunate because she does seem like such a sweet person. But let's say I'm competing in this competition and I see she has 8 and I'm holding a deletion ball. Like, I don't want to shake the boat a little bit. I might say, you know what? It's unfortunate. She's such a sweet person, but she knew what she was signing up for. And I have to put it on her, even if it does hurt her. Would you agree?
See, that's one of the things that makes this competition so interesting. It's like that there's so many different things you have to think about here. And also, another thing you have to think about is like, if I don't put this dot in Sam's, if I put it in somebody who has like 2, then how does that make me look too? So at the end of the day, like, I hate to say it, but it's like you really had no other choice but to kind of like gang up on people in this competition. And that makes it so... It's so sad. And I wish personally that they had saved this for maybe like a week 6, week 7, like, you know, that point of like right after jury where everybody's just kind of calling each other on their BS. I would have loved for them to have saved that for a little while. I get why they put it tonight, just because like, okay, we got to get this thing going. Let's start getting drama fights, good TV, you know. But I don't like it. I wish it had been something else.
I'm going to disagree, though. I like that it was week 1. I feel like it sets the tone. I feel like it's setting us up for the drama. I feel like this is a perfect competition if you want things to happen. If you want good feeds, these are the competitions that need to happen. And one of the things that happen in it is we get Bailey and Tyler. They kind of lock eyes and they start motioning to people. You know, we're gonna put it into this person's thing. Are you a fan of this budding duo potentially?
I mean, yeah, I definitely understand like the logic behind that. Like, it was kind of one of those unspoken things of like, okay, we about to work together, let's do this. But I mean, realistically, if I was a part of the competition, that probably would have been the route that I had taken, even though I could have, you know, just been like, okay, boop, 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 you know. But they were smart about it, I suppose, so I'll give them credit for it, even though they ganged up on Sam, but it's fine.
After, all right, after Sam is eliminated, the next people eliminated are Steve, Kaitlyn. Even though she says she has manifested her win, it does unfortunately not happen. Winston is out, Angela is out, and it is down to JC, Bailey, and Tyler. And JC, to his credit, I want to give the guy some credit because he does say that he is throwing it, which that is something I would probably do. And I just wrote down he has a good mind, but he has a very strange personality because he talks about like this is his idea, and then in the diary room you see him like bizarrely dancing. Like he's a weird person, but he has a good head on his shoulders. And that's kind of my assessment of him. Do you kind of agree with me?
Let me tell you, that week that they come for JC, we are going to get such good TV. You know he's going to be cussing in Spanish in that diary room. I am so ready for it. I do like JC. I do enjoy watching him.
Okay. So eventually the competition continues. JC is the next person eliminated. It's down to Bailey and Tyler. And Tyler ends up the winner of the competition. We kind of touched on this a little earlier, but I don't feel it so much that Tyler won the HOH. Is more he was kind of put into a position where he just had to win it at this point. So I can't really hold it against him. I don't think people like this isn't a competition where people are going to say, oh, he's a threat because he was like very athletic or he did something really incredible. He was just kind of put into this position, and I don't think people are going to hold it against him. Do you think people will?
No, I don't think so, because at the end of the day, like, it wasn't like he was going out there and being like, okay, I'm about to win this HOH. Y'all are just going to have to deal with it. I'm about to get all you out. So, because that's another thing with this competition. Like, it wasn't his choice necessarily to win. It was just people weren't putting the deletion dots in his tube as much as the others. So, as long as he goes throughout this week and doesn't do anything messy, he should be fine.
I think that's a pretty solid assessment. So we have our HOH, and we get this next segment. it gets me. This is when things start to get like hit the emotional point because Sam is. She has these moments where she's feeling very emotional. She's not a robot anymore. She's in the diary room. She's actually crying a little bit. It got me a little bit, and it doesn't really get me on Big Brother. Like I feel like she's a little bit too sweet for this game. Unfortunately, like she doesn't really like. You kind of need a little bit of a iron heart to do this, and it just breaks my heart. But the thing is, those emotions are something that can be easily manipulated. And so she's having these emotional thoughts and she's in this emotional state. The thing is, I feel like the right play for her here is to take herself while she's in that state and walk right up to Tyler and turn it all on because he seems like someone who might be a little susceptible to those kinds of emotions. Do you think she misplayed here?
No, I mean, I definitely don't. And another thing is, like, she did do that, but there's only so much emotion that you can convey when you're a robot.
She's not a robot at this point. She's still the person. She's still Sam here.
Oh, gotcha. This is in the diary room. Gotcha. Yeah. I don't think that she misplayed. I think that, because obviously the show is heavily edited, so I definitely think that was just kind of like a raw moment where she was in the diary room. She was like, damn, I'm really screwed here. So no, I don't think anything of that.
All right, but I do have this question because I watched these 2 episodes. I've actually watched the premiere twice. I'm a little bit confused. How did Sam all of a sudden become a target? Like all of a sudden they tell us that she's a target, but I didn't see any moments when things kind of like went bad for her. Is it just because she's in the robot suit? Like how did the target fall on her?
Well, I don't know that she's necessarily being targeted quite yet. I think that it was just like he had to put up 2 people and that was kind of his safest choice. But it's one of those things where you kind of have to, unfortunately, in this game, it's dog eat dog. You have to prey on the weak. So, unfortunately, she just kind of fell into the trap, I guess, that it just kind of happened that way.
Okay. So after that segment, we move on to the beginnings of the alliance. It's Rachel, Winston, and Angela. They're in the bathroom. They're talking about getting something going. So they decide, hey, we're going to get Casey. We're going to bring her in. Winston says he's going to bring in Brett. And there's one part of this alliance forming that just got me so annoyed because they're having this conversation about forming the alliance. They want to go up to Casey and bring her in. But they're having the conversation with Casey right in the middle of the hallway, like right in plain view of like probably people sitting at the kitchen. And I was like, what are you doing? Go into a room, like go somewhere else. Why are we doing this? And, but luckily for them, they don't get caught. It does kind of go their way, but, really, really confusing gameplay there for a second, right?
That's this kind of stuff you don't think about week 1. You know, I don't have to whisper in this room because I've never had to whisper in rooms before, or I don't need to maybe go and keep this on the DL because, like, why does it matter? Like, it's one of those things they're kind of having to adjust on being in the house, in my opinion.
All right. So, like we said, this alliance is formed. So far, it is just Rachel, Winston, Angela, Casey, and Brett. They decide they're going to take it to Tyler, but the spokesperson is Winston. He sits him down. He says, look, here's this idea. Here's this alliance. We want to throw it to you. This is your option. You can take it. And Tyler is he's considering because he also knows there's another side of the house, and Swaggy C's side. And he can now pick between going with Tyler's side or Swaggy C's side. And as the episode kind of tells, he does, I think what I got was that he does go with Tyler's group. Do you agree? Is that the impression you got?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I feel like there should be more for me to say, but I agree.
All right. So Winston, when they're talking, they're talking a little bit about the nominations for the weekend. Winston is saying it's got to be Sam and Steve. They're the people not in the alliance. And Tyler, he's like, I'm considering it. Well, just give me a little bit more time. And after this, he actually has the segment where Sam, unfortunately, has to go back into the diary room. She returns as the robot, and she says she wants to talk to Tyler one-on-one. And like we said earlier, I'm just like, why did you wait for the robot? You should have gone right when you were like in that emotional state. But she brings him into the pantry room, and even though she's a robot, you could tell she's like in tears. She's having this emotional moment, like, please don't put me up. I know you probably want to put me up. And I want to ask this question to you. This is a hard question. So if you are Tyler in this situation, and she's been beaten down. She's in this robot costume. She's drastically hindered. Um, would you have fallen for the tears? Would you have wanted to save her? What would your play here have been?
I Yes, I think I would not have nominated her because also he has to think about this. He did have people coming up to him during the week being like, "Listen, if you put Sam and Steve up, that's a stupid move," you know. So I feel like he would not have been faulted for not putting Sam on the block. I don't think there's anybody that's going to go up to him and be like, "Wow, you could have put up this girl in a robot outfit, but instead you put me up." Like, I don't think anybody would have done that. So I don't think he would have been faulted, for not putting her up.
Yeah, but I just got to say, like, if I'm a Tyler and this person starts spinning me their tale of woes, I would hope that I would be able to make the right decision and not fall for it. But I would it would be tough. I would probably go back to my lines and say, look, is there anything, like, I would try to plead the case, but I would give it to the hands of my team and say, like, here's an idea. Let's maybe rethink it. But I will understand if we want to stick to our original decision. But
it's one of those things where you just kind of have to put yourself in her shoes and be like, all right, this girl's in a robot outfit. Like, she's basically like been beat up this whole entire time so far. Like, let me not make things worse for her. But
all right. But so that segment kind of comes to a close and we get into the next segment. It's we have the side with Angela, Winston, and Tyler, and the other side is starting to form. It is Swaggy C, Caitlin, and Fessy. They want to Fessy and Caitlin, they want to go up to Tyler and plead their case. So we have the one side, this is the Swaggy C side. I like that we're kind of getting the formation of two opposing sides in the House. I feel there's a couple of people in the middle that are kind of the swing votes. But they go and they push this narrative. Angie actually joins them. Caitlin, when she comes into the room, she goes up to Swaggy C and says, "Let's hold hands while we do this. We have to do this." So I want to ask, if a contestant is trying to sway your opinion and comes in and asks to hold your hand while you are doing the deliberating, what would your reaction be?
I'd be like, hell yeah, girl, here, give me your hand, boo boo. You want some lotion? I'll give you some lotion, And then I would go in the diary room and be like, what? Like, is she doing this? Like, so yeah, I mean, she tried it.
Yep. And this group, they want Angela and Winston nominations, which that's a scary move for me. But at least they're pleading the case. At least there is an opposition. It eventually transitioned, and then it turns into Bailey and Tyler kind of talking one-on-one. And Bailey kind of spills some information that she probably shouldn't have. She talks about how she is very, very close with Swaggy C. She says she considers him like family. And basically, the original pitch that Winston had given to Tyler was that that he should nominate Sam and Steve, and should one of them come down, throw up Bailey. That should be the play. And this revelation that Bailey kind of spills to Tyler is what seals his deal to kind of go with the other side with Angela and Winston. Do you agree with that play? Now that Bailey has kind of spilled this secret, do you think it is, if you're looking to take a strike at Swaggy C, is it the right move to consider her as a replacement?
If you're looking to strike at Swaggy C, it's the only move to consider her as a replacement. I think it was definitely a not so thought out move on her part. Maybe not that wise to go in there and show your cards to the HOH. Another thing is, one thing is we don't know how many days that they've been in the house at this point where this conversation was taking place. So, if I'm thinking about this right, you've known this boy for 2 or 3 days at this point, and y'all are already family. Okay, all right, but no, I definitely think it would make sense. If he really did want to go after Swaggy C for the week, unfortunately, it's just gotta happen.
I agree. These past 2 weeks have been casting not the best forecast for Bailey's run in this game. She's a lot of mistakes I'm seeing. Not the best, but we'll kind of talk about this as the we get the feeds. We'll see where things are at.
Right.
But which kind of brings us to the nominees. So Tyler, like we mentioned earlier, he decides to nominate Steve and Sam. He goes with Winston's side of the house. I think this is the right move. I feel like it's unfortunate, but you got it. First of all, you got to throw Steve up, and Sam. It's unfortunate, but I feel it's the right move. But I feel like this season we're starting to build towards this inevitable clash between Swaggy C and Tyler, which is something that I feel is something to look forward to. Are you excited for that kind of matchup?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I'm waiting for the day that Swaggy C has to come for somebody because he's about to show no mercy, and yeah, I'm ready for it.
Yeah, Tyler Swaggy C, I'm sorry, is he says we're gonna get a show. He's gonna give us a show, and I can appreciate that. But so that actually is the episode. But on Sunday we are going to be finding out who has won the BB App Store twist, who is going to be getting the reward, who is going to be getting the punishment, and I want to ask you who I'll give you a minute to think as I give my opinions, but who do you think is going to be getting the reward and who do you think is going to be getting the punishment? So if I have to guess the person getting the reward, it's got to be Sam, right? It's got to be Sam.
Absolutely. Ideally, yes. Hopefully, yes. Realistically, yes. Yeah.
I feel that I don't know if it's going to be enough to save her. I don't know what the twists are, but I think it's also pretty easy, in my opinion, to pick who's going to get the punishment, who's been talked about the least. I mean, you barely remembered her name a little earlier into this podcast, so I'm going to say Haley's going to be getting a punishment, right?
Well, there are a couple different ways to look at this. The Haleys, the Scotties, Brett. The people that haven't been talked about very much on the episodes could potentially receive the punishment, but also we have people like Angela, Swaggy C, who are kind of polarizing. So you have to look at it from that way. Like, is Middle America going to get behind Swaggy C? Whoever they need to get behind. Unfortunately, that there are reasons why Swaggy C would get a punishment. That he can't control.
Yeah,
and we'll leave it at that.
All right, so that's actually our episode recap. But before we close the episode, I want to ask some closing questions. So, in your opinion, of all the house guests, who so far is playing the best game? I know it's pretty early to say, but who's doing the best?
For week 1, I think I'm gonna give it to somebody like a Scotty, who's just maybe just laying low, not making any waves, not doing. He had like 1 DR session for this episode, and that is the way to go. That is how you get to be, like a Netta or somebody who kind of rises later in the season.
I'm going to agree. Scotty is playing a really good game. I think other people who are playing a good game are Rachel. She wasn't very much in the spotlight, but when we do see her, she's helping the other contestants. Like if they're having a little bit of a moment, she's the one who is usually comforting them. Yep. And she's the one who's helping Sam, which, I like this girl also. She seems like someone who can very easily become an early favorite later on into the competition. I see her going deep. Do you agree?
Yep, I agree.
All right, so now we're going to go into who's maybe not so much playing the best game this season, this week. Who had the worst showing for week 1? And I'm going to say it's rough to say, but I'm going to say Sam. Sam has been having the worst week. I mean, she's on the block. She seems like I don't know. Tell me, am I crazy for thinking that Sam has played the worst first week? Oh, you know what? I'm actually going to switch it. But go on. I'm sorry.
I don't think that she has played the worst. I think that her circumstances definitely are not favorable. But I don't think that she got to this point because of something that she did. It's just kind of how things shook out. I mean, yes, you could make the argument like, okay, well, you came in last, so now we're here, and it is what it is. You knew you were going to have a punishment, but like, I'm sure those competitions are hard. I have to be sympathetic to her. And at the end of the day, I do feel like this punishment is particularly harsh. So I don't think she's been playing the worst. I do have a couple of names for who I think like maybe need to tone it down a little bit. Um, Let me preface this by saying that I do, and I like them both, but I think that Bailey and Angela need to kind of calm down a little bit. Maybe playing too hard, too fast. Well, okay. Angela, it can be said about her. I think she is playing a little bit too hard, too fast. I think that Bailey is just kind of running her mouth, and that's the issue I'm having with her.
I think she said, though, that in her pre-show interviews, like the thing that's going to get her in trouble the most, I think she said, was it her who said it was going to be her mouth? So it shouldn't be any surprise there.
I think if she had looked at like house guests past, you look at somebody like Davon, her mouth got her in trouble 2 times. Both of the times that she got evicted, it was because of her and her kind of being paranoid and her mouth kind of coming for people. So, I feel like she needs to just kind of take a step back and be like, listen, like we are in the early stage of this game. Let me not piss anybody off. Let me not show my hand yet. So I think I would give like the worst game award for week 1 to Bailey, unfortunately, even though I love her.
Yeah, I as I was saying Sam, I was like, wait a minute, no, Bailey. And I'm going to switch it from Sam to Bailey. Sam is one above. I feel like Bailey is gonna probably be in a bit of trouble in the coming weeks. I mean, if I'm in the house and I'm taking a look at this whole cast, it's unfortunate, but she's someone who I'm working with. I wouldn't be able to fully trust that they're not going that they're going to keep all the secrets I'm telling them, and that would be a bit threatening. But do you have any points you want to touch on regarding this episode before we go to the close?
I did enjoy this episode. I want to put a hashtag out there, hashtag justice for Sam. Justice for Sam. I am hoping either she can pull out a veto or the house will just kind of take pity on her and be like, we can't evict this girl. She's a damn robot. Who I would like to see evicted this week, and I know this is a stupid thing for me to say because he's on my draft. If somebody has to go, I need it to be Steve. Him and his bubble bath can get on. But yeah.
Do you see any potential backdoors going on this week?
Honestly, we are really going to have to see what's going on in the feeds because things can change like that in Big Brother House. So we're just going to have to check.
Definitely. And I just want to say that is going to be our episode for tonight. I want to say thank you so much to Jason for joining me.
Thank you for
having
me.
No problem. Hopefully, in the coming weeks, we're going to be able to have Ryan back. He's experiencing some difficulties with his computer. We'll see we'll keep you updated on what's going on there.
Justice for Ryan's computer. Justice for Ryan's computer.
That should be the hashtag for our episode today. Justice.
It will be. You will see that on my Twitter very soon.
All right, so I just want to say I am Adam Samuel. You can find me on Twitter at Adam Soapbox. I run 2 websites, adamsoapbox.com and adamcbblog.com. I just released a article about me playing sports as a kid. It's been getting so many good reviews. I just want to say check it out. I put so much effort into it. I've been working on it for over a month. It has a lot of heart. It's funny, and I hope you'll like it. But where can we find you, Jason?
You can find me at _JasonBrown21 on Twitter. That's an underscore at the beginning, JasonBrown21. You can find me on Instagram at Jason with 2 N's, Brown with 1 N. If you like Glee, I am going to see Leah Michelle and Darren Criss in Atlanta tomorrow. So, fat chance, but anybody watching, if you see me at the Leah Michelle concert, come and say hi, But yeah, I'll be tweeting some videos and stuff from the show. Justice for Ryan's computer. Please go read Adam's article. And anything else?
I just want to say thank you guys, everyone, so much for viewing. We are going to be back on Sunday. It's going to be me and Eric are going to be talking some America's Got Talent. Until then, thanks so much for watching and peace out, guys.
Bye.